The Majority Report's Emma Vigeland hops on Tim Pool's brand new show, The Culture War, to debate Sean Fitzgerald, who many of you guys probably know him as Actual Justice Warrior here on YouTube. But before I continue with my intro, I do have a guest here with us. Lisa, what's going on?
Nothing. Thanks for having me. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for... Yeah, exactly. I am here in Philadelphia. We're filming some videos. So we were actually at the Moms for Liberty Summit, and Lisa's hopping in an in-studio segment. We got a whole makeshift studio here, so it's going pretty great. But anyways, Emma Vigeland basically derails this debate and starts telling Tim Pool that the people that watch his show, there are neo-Nazis that watch his show, and she's really just trying to jab at him. It completely blows up in her face. It's amazing. Tim and Sean handle it just perfectly, and we're going to be unpacking a few scenes from this live stream today. Now, if you guys want to check out the full live stream, you can check out the link down in the description below. Of course, as always, I will put links to full videos in the description. Also, check out their social medias, Sean's social media, everything like that. This video does have a sponsor, and that sponsor is Native Path. We'll be talking about them more in a little bit, but for right now, let's go ahead and jump on in.
Again, Tim, like, the reality is I don't, like, you know, you've been perfectly nice to me here. I don't really care about you personally. I care when you say things that are harmful and
like
wrong. What? Like the hoax statement about...
That wasn't wrong. That was an opinion.
It was wrong.
It
was completely factually inaccurate.
It's not factually inaccurate.
You called it a hoax because you know that your audience is going to feed into it, and then you parse it later so you have plausible deniability about it.
But specifically what I said was,
yeah.
And we talk about it in depth. I think the issue is just you don't watch the show. To be fair, I don't watch Majority Report. But I said, yeah, the idea that you would take a tragic circumstance like this and then create a political story, put it out to the super PACs to try and change laws, that's a hoax.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of context there before we move on. A little bit of context there. We're not going to be talking about this the whole time at all, but this is just one thing that I wanted to segue into her neo-Nazi claim. And she's talking about the medical board reprimanding Indiana doctor who performed abortion on 10-year-old. There was a whole scandal there where it wasn't reported to the police, and she ended up having to live with the person that sexually assaulted her and raped her for multiple days, you know, after the fact, because they prioritized aborting it and leaking it to the media over anything else. At least that was the claim at the time. I don't know if you remember anything from that.
I remember. Yeah, it was basically that they were trying to use it, the left was trying to use it to combat the new changes in Roe versus Wade.
Right, and it was right after, I think it was a week after.
And they kind of manipulated the story as well at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, so we're not going to be talking about that though. She just brings up that little piece. Before we move on to this next clip, Lisa, because this is where things just totally derail in this video. You are the booker for this show.
Correct. I am. I didn't book Emma. She was already scheduled, but I did book Sean. And wow, I usually hope that guests are going to come on and have really nice conversations and stuff, but she was just there to make trouble. I mean, that was her whole MO.
If not nice, somewhat good faith.
Good faith. Civility.
Right.
Civil.
Right. So you booked Sean, you didn't book Emma.
Correct.
Okay, so we can't blame you for that. All right.
Don't.
Let's check it out.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
How about the fact that you called the
grooming event
shooter in the neo-Nazi Texas shooter who watched your program, you called that a false flag?
Because you don't even know anything about that story.
I do.
It was four clips of the episode, and you can see in the images he wasn't even subscribed to the channel.
Yeah, but he watched your show.
No, he didn't. He watched one guy.
Yeah, have you ever went to those time codes? He was highlighting specific, and I won't name the guest from the guest.
But he did watch your show.
This is
so you're saying he watched an episode?
Smear.
Sure, but do you understand
come
why?
on.
And he posted.
I love Sean just jumping in there really quick, saying this is a nasty smear, just calling her out. We'll play the rest of this clip, and then we'll just make some comments about it. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool.
Who was that one guy who watched Majority Report and then commented on what Sam did?
Why do you think this was a neo-Nazi. Why do you think your content appeals to neo-Nazis?
Are you kidding me right now?
No, I'm just wondering why you think that.
I'm gonna do something I don't normally do, but that was an egregious over the line statement where I don't know if you are intentionally trying to just generate clips that are nonsensical or you're just really that stupid.
Oh man.
Little bit of both, I would say. Honestly, a little bit of both. I definitely was going in there to just derail the conversation, probably hoping to get kicked out right there. Honestly.
I want to give a little background on this. Can I give a little background on this?
Jump in there. All right, everyone, let's take a few moments to talk about today's sponsor. If you are struggling with swelling in your legs, ankles, or feet, you're going to want to listen up. Forget your compression socks and water pills. New research shows that swelling and inflammation can be resolved by upping your intake of omega-3 fatty acids from krill oil. Omega-3s improve circulation while reducing inflammation in the body, all while reducing swelling and pain. And there's no better time to try krill oil for yourself. It's safe and it's effective. Just go to fixswollenfeet.com/Klug to get 58% off Native Path Antarctic Krill. You guys, I only work with the best. This krill oil is pure, it's effective, and it's easily absorbed by the body, and it contains a potent antioxidant which helps further reduce inflammation and swelling. For a limited time, you can grab Native Path Antarctic Krill for as low as $19 a bottle. Just go to fixswollenfeet.com/Klug. That's fixswollenfeet.com/Klug. I will put links down in the description below. Let's get back to the video.
So her people reach out to us and they say, hey, we don't want somebody that's just like focused on transgender issues. Looks like Sean is. And I was like, have you watched any of Sean's content? It's all crime. Like, that's all it is.
For sure.
So let's talk about crime. And they had originally agreed to start talking about the Williams case and, everything that's going on in New York with the subways.
Yeah.
And as soon as she got on the show, she just started railing at Tim. Like, they had an article pulled up on the screen and she just started pushing at him, like totally went in her own direction.
So that was the goal then. That was the goal of going there, because you can see Sean kind of making some comments, but she is directing this conversation at Tim. She's almost completely ignoring her opponent for the debate.
Sean wound up being the moderator for most of the debate because she was just going at Tim and he had to respond. So poor Sean wound up being the moderator.
Yeah, but
they both did a good job. Tim and Sean both.
Yeah, and we'll show in this. Sean still does an absolutely fantastic job. This is Tim just absolutely tearing into Emma.
The idea that because a Nazi watched your show appeals to Nazis is like, look, if you want to have a real conversation, we have a real conversation. If you want to come up here and do exactly what the majority, you want to do what the majority report does, and exactly why Sam isn't welcome on my and many other shows, feel free to do it, and I'm willing to have you on here. Did you know that? Like, I don't know about you specifically, but this is exactly why people don't like your show. Okay.
I think people like our show.
Yeah, maybe ask why some of these higher profile personalities and networks won't have Sam on anymore. And he can cry.
Afraid of him.
Oh, they're afraid of him. How about it's because you just claimed that my show appeals to Nazis?
Yeah, it could be that. It could be the bad faith arguments, basically just trying to tear somebody's show apart. And also, even if you disagree with somebody, there should be some level of respect that you're showing them, because they're, one, bringing you on their platform to speak your opinion, and they're willing to have that discussion. There is some level of respect that you owe to that person for allowing you to hop on their show, especially a live stream, something that's not edited like that.
Absolutely, but you could tell it was even more bad faith, especially the neo-Nazi comment, that she didn't actually believe that. She wanted to farm clicks, because earlier her and Sean were talking and he was talking about prison reform, and she's like, you're further right than the rest of the audience of this show. So what's further right than neo-Nazis? Like, so if Sean is like further right than neo-Nazis, I mean, what would you call that? So she knows that the audience isn't Nazis or neo-Nazis, and this is her just trying to generate clips by calling him that. Because what? Because somebody watched your show one time.
And I've also, I mean, this is also just like the most absurd argument to be making to somebody, saying, oh, well, this person once watched your show before. You could literally say that about anything about somebody's life. So if there's an extremist, what kind of food, or do they prefer a certain restaurant? Let's stay away from that restaurant. What movies are they watching? Let's stay away from that. Unless there's a direct call to action for those individuals, and those individuals say, yep, we're listening, we're going to go and do something crazy, that's literally the only case that you can blame somebody for an instance where somebody's going out and doing something evil.
Yeah.
If they are watching something, anything, whether it be left-wing or right-wing, I wouldn't even care if that was the case, trying to make that argument, because obviously Tim's content, obviously this content does not appeal to neo-Nazis when it comes to what they speak about on a daily basis.
Not even close. They're too left-wing for me sometimes. Have you ever listened to Ian? But
shout out to Ian, by the way.
Yeah, he's the man.
He gets a lot of hate. I love Ian.
But yeah, even if they were saying really radical things, there is still a person has their own autonomy. That person decided that
Right.
they were going to go out and cause harm, damage, hurt people, and it has nothing to do. Everybody's responsible for their own actions. So
Because this show is predominantly like moderate libertarian leaning types.
No, you
but you
say
don't even
that,
watch
and
it.
that you say that because you're trying to draw a line and make the really far right people that watch your show feel like their positions are a little bit more close to the mainstream than they actually are.
Really quick about that, because he's saying that a lot of the show's libertarians. We actually ran into a Timcast viewer the other day, and I've ran into a bunch over the years, obviously. And it's funny because Tim says that oftentimes when I'm talking to them, that tends to be the person.
they really are.
Yeah.
Yes, they really are. Like that kid we just met.
He's actually spot on, and the kid that we just met, he was definitely like that. We met a Timcast viewer. He was basically saying it was the main show that he watches. And when I was talking to him, he said he was talking to radical left activists outside of the outside of the Moms for Liberty summit, and he was just asking them some questions and all that. He was telling us that he might agree with them on some things, and he might disagree with Moms for Liberty on some things. Right there, that's telling me that somebody's pretty open-minded and maybe along the lines of being more libertarian.
Yeah, and you'll probably see him in the upcoming video. So
That's right.
watch.
So
A moment.
you called it a false flag, and then when you were proven wrong the next day, you
Called what a
said
false
you thought
flag?
it was funny.
Called what a false flag?
You called the claims that the neo-Nazi shooter watched your show a false flag.
I don't know if I said that. That sounds awfully specific.
I don't have the exact quote in front of me, Tim. But
So you don't
that
know
was-
what I said? Where did
Yes,
you
I
hear
do.
that?
I listened to you.
Did you say something like, it sounds like, I said, it sounds like a psyop to have this profile appear one day after the shooting where it's got like a bunch of screenshots on it or something?
Sure.
It really does sound to me like someone told you to say things and you don't know what you're referencing.
Well, if that was the case, which I believe it was, if we're thinking back on this one, all the information, social media, screenshots, everything posted up, I mean, literally the day after.
Yeah, that
So
never
to say-
happens if it's a lefty shooter. If we still don't have the manifesto
Right.
from
So to say something suspicious there, it's like, oh wow, how crazy is that?
like them blaming it all on Tim Pool and all that. Like it's a false flag. Like,
That's correct.
Yeah, with the evidence with the evidence of what the episode was and what was captured on his phone. Like
Well,
it was-
they tried to craft a narrative there, and the narrative ended up being completely false.
right.
Is saying he was inspired by Timcast, all of that, or oh look at this, he was. It must have been this must be one of the things that made this person extreme. Yeah, I mean, Tim's not wrong right there.
Right.
Next clip.
It really does sound to me like someone told you to say things and you don't know what you're referencing.
I'm not shocked that that is the only way that you're going to try to react to this.
To react to what? Okay, no, this is fairly obvious. So I'm willing to bet Sam was like, hey, ask him about this and say these exact
No, I
things.
came up with, I mean,
Come up with original thoughts. Come on, man.
it is
I
my
ask-
original thought.
So
No, it
it's-
isn't.
It's
some guy posts a screenshot of one episode of a show he's not subscribed to, and you think that's an attack vector for something political, but it's a personal snipe that has no bearing on any of the arguments we've made the entire show.
I disagree.
yeah, so,
You disagree with what? With what? Elaborate.
I disagree that it has no bearing on what you've said throughout your entire show.
Like what? What did I say?
This is
Come
what,
on, come
this
on, come
was
on.
the claim
Let's
that you
hear
made.
it. Let's hear it.
I believe that your program appeals to a right-wing audience, and there's a reason that the neo-Nazi shooter watched your program,
And how do you know he watched the program?
because he posted about it.
What did he post?
Tim,
What did he post?
he posted parts of an interview that you did.
No, he didn't. You're wrong.
he had 4 screenshots on his phone from
You
the
don't
same
even know what you're
episode.
talking about, and all you can do is laugh and
No,
say,
it's 'cause you get
some
specific
guy,
to obscure
some
the fact.
guy
You called it
posted
a fa-
one thing one time, and that's the only argument you have.
She's saying you're getting you're demanding too much specifics with this. What did he post is an incredibly reasonable freaking question, because you're making some claim. First of all, she's saying that that he posted a clip. That's not true, and they both called her out on that. So she actually doesn't know. She was told this. She was told this by someone, because if she actually discovered it on her own, if she actually looked into facts, she wouldn't have said it that way. And she would have been able to tell them exactly what it was.
So here's a little disclaimer. I was not in the room, but according to the people who were in the room, she had her laptop open with a list of
Oh,
bullet
here we
points.
go. Behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes gossip, I guess. But these are reliable sources. She had her laptop open with a list of bullet points of arguments to make. Now, I don't know if she put that together, but normally when you put those things together and you're aware of everything that went on, you would know those things. So I'm leaning towards Tim's theory that somebody did tell her to say those.
And if you're making such a claim, right? You're coming there making childish claims, saying that, oh, you guys are so extreme and neo-Nazis watch your show, and then unable to provide the exact evidence that you're basically accusing him of. You know, the radical clips that they posted up, even though they didn't post up clips. Having no information about that's just, you look like a fool.
Did you go to the time codes that were in that episode? Because I did. I ran this down. And one of them was a clip of Elijah Schaffer. And, like, weirdly, for this, like, neo-Nazi Hispanic shooter, it's Elijah saying that we shouldn't be emphasizing race
tattoo.
specifically.
So we shouldn't be emphasizing race specifically. And that's what the neo-Nazi was really excited about?
So, yeah, the screenshot.
He's like, yeah, Elijah Schaffer preaching.
The timestamps were of Elijah, and it was like one of Elijah's like less extreme moments. He was saying we shouldn't be emphasizing race and we should all get along. And I mean, and that's what the shooter had timestamped and saved in his phone. There was another guest on there too that he had clipped, but like the main one that everybody seems to be talking about is Elijah, and he was being, everything he said was totally reasonable.
Yeah. He probably could have been clipping it to show one of his friends something, maybe like in a bad way. Maybe that was, if he's a neo-Nazi, I'm assuming, maybe that was a bad thing.
Yeah, maybe he was mad at Elijah for saying we should de-emphasize race. I mean, like, who knows why he's clipping it? He can't tell us. He's not here anymore.
Yeah.
And this is the majority report.
Yeah, but it is a nasty smear. Like, you're doing it on purpose
and
without
it's
running
not
down
a political
the
statement. It's not a political argument.
fact.
You're like, he watched
nothing.
an episode of her show. I'm sorry, of his show. Like, that's
There was that one guy who posted Sam Cedar a whole bunch. Remember the guy who killed all those people at the bar in Ohio?
I don't remember that case specifically.
Why did that guy watch Sam Cedar so much?
Why did Gavin?
Why do you guys appeal to mass shooters?
Just throw it right back in their face. I love this bit right here, and pretty much just playing the same stupid game that she's playing, just so she can get kind of a taste of her own medicine here, and she does not handle it well.
Not only that, I just want to bring up that Sean is such a good guest and such a good debater, because he's like, oh, that one episode, I looked at all the timestamps,
Yeah,
and
of course,
I know everything from that show.
Exactly. Of course, he looked up the timestamps and actually knew the specifics, and that's the last person you want to challenge and make stupid claims around.
So true.
Of somebody that actually does their freaking homework.
That's the difference between the right and the left. The left are constantly people who do not do their homework, and then they just make baseless accusations like this girl for clicks.
She had a soundbite that she wanted to regurgitate, and she did not expect somebody to unpack it with her.
Yeah.
Why do mass shooters
There's a
talk
qualitative
about
difference.
Sam Cedar being so inspirational to them?
Why did Gavin?
Why is
Yeah.
Emma Vigeland inspiring mass shooters?
Why did Gavin Long?
Why are you okay with porn being shown to children? Look, if you want to play a game of nonsense statements for political brownie points, feel free to do so. But I'll say it again.
Tim, I didn't mean to upset you.
This is exactly why Sam is not welcome on my show. But it's not something that I just one day was like, you know what? No, it's because I had serious conversations with networks and other high-profile individuals, and I love.
Can you name the high-profile individuals?
That's their business.
I didn't mean to upset you. Again, shorts farming, trying to basically she's trying to get Tim mad, and she's trying to look calm so she can be like, oh, look at me, he freaked out. And I'm actually really glad, because I was thinking in my head when I was watching this, is if Tim throws her out of the studio, because what she's doing on somebody's show is disrespectful enough to actually be thrown out.
It's disingenuous.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
It would be totally reasonable to throw her out, and he didn't give her that, and that's really good to see. Just because
She did that multiple times too. She would try to like rile him up, and then after she did, she'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry if I offended you. I didn't know you were such a snowflake. Like, you don't need to be so upset. Like talking in a calm voice. Like, stop it. We all see what you're doing, you psycho."
Yeah. That's literally the goal of her being there. Not to actually have a conversation, but they're doing a fantastic job when it comes to just throwing it back in her face. And it's not like she's doing a good job handling it. She doesn't look like the winner in this situation at all. You know how usually you stay calm and people are freaking out? If you're being genuine, and you're actually presenting a genuine argument, it does make you look fantastic. You look great. If you're obviously being disingenuous and you're just doing it to trick your audience into thinking you did such a great job and they got so triggered that you were there, it doesn't look as good. To your average person watching this video, they would not think that she's handling it well.
The average person. However, the leftists that watch her show is like, oh my God,
Well,
she owned him. Like,
they'll just
they're
pick little
insane.
bits out.
Right.
They'll just pick.
They didn't watch the whole thing. They just watched the clips that she farmed, which was exactly the point.
Literally the case. Literally the case.
I think he was joking.
But used to be at TYT, and Gavin Long, who was the Baton Rouge shooter, watched, reposted, and did reactions to Young Turk's videos. A lot of them were straight misinformation. There was one in particular where they were going after a cop who slammed a woman, which, by the way, the cop acted inappropriately, but they wildly speculated that it was a black woman. It turned out to be a white woman. And there was a call in the video of, like, what do you do if you see a pregnant black woman being assaulted by a cop? Gavin Long said he's going to step up. You can watch these videos; they're available online. And he shot 4 cops.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't my comment.
I didn't say. No, hold on. I didn't say it was your commentary, but you're saying screenshots on this guy's phone. Big problem. I got to bring it up right here. But have you ever covered at all what inspired Gavin Long?
Absolute mic drop right there. Mm-hmm. And they don't care. They don't care because there was no good faith argument being made here. The only purpose was just to throw something random in their face and hope they're not prepared to throw it back. Take a note for anybody watching. Don't do that with Sean.
So true.
Don't do that with Sean because what he's talking about, he's basically bringing up. Okay, so screenshots of a timestamp on a show, very, very bad. Let's talk about it a bunch. And then somebody being literally motivated by TYT content, announcing that they're motivated by TYT content, and going out and killing police officers. Please, just crickets and nothing more than that.
And for clarification, she used to work for TYT. So
I thought they said that in the clip. Did I?
Oh, did they? I missed that.
That's okay. Yeah. Old TYT employee. Also, I don't believe she was there during that time, but the argument still stands. If you want to bring up BS arguments, well, you used to work at a company that had this happen, that quote unquote inspired this.
Yeah, she would never disavow them. She would never disavow them.
She didn't even know about it.
Because
he killed 4 police officers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. That wasn't my coverage, so I don't know. I was based in
What
New
about
York.
the guy in Dallas? Remember him?
That was a different shooter.
Sam,
No, I know.
I'm sorry. I
Right.
really didn't mean to trigger you. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just.
She's
I didn't mean to trigger you. I told you she did it the whole show.
Oh my gosh.
Just curious where your standards are. Like, have you gone
Look at
after
this.
the
She's
hosts on the Young Turks for
clip
that one?
harvesting, clip farming. Is that what you're doing?
I don't know what you mean.
100%.
Like, okay, your demeanor changes before the show to all of a sudden now you're going, what do you mean? I'm so sorry I triggered you. Oh, jeez.
Well, I mean,
get it. You guys
I'm
are going to
just-
make clips.
I'm
You
trying
guys
to
are
do-
lowbrow grifter drama garbage.
I'm trying to
You
just
want to talk
speak
about the
in a
merits
calming
of policy?
tone, so maybe it calms you down a little bit.
You want to talk about policy, or do you want to just insult people?
Holy hell. They handle this so well because I mean, yes, that's incredibly infuriating. Somebody making that claim to you, saying that your show appeals to neo-Nazis, all of this stuff, and then saying, "Oh, I'm so sad. I'm so sorry that you're triggered by what I was saying."
She's lucky I wasn't in that room. Tim's lucky I wasn't in that room. I would have embarrassed everybody. I would have been jumping across
Screaming
that
across the table.
I would love to talk about policy.
I'm sure you would. I'm sure you would love to have that really good spirited conversation. I wanted to pull this up really quick just to show everyone what Sean was getting at right there. Baton Rouge cop killer left note, fired at least 42 rounds, killing multiple police officers. So this is what he was talking about back in 2017. So Sean gets an opportunity to revisit because she keeps basically avoiding the question or avoiding a true answer. Sean decides to revisit talking about Gavin Long with Emma.
You, Sean?
Yeah. So if screenshots, which are of clips that weren't even him speaking, is Tim Pool inspiring the shooter, then how come you've never done this commentary at a place you used to work at of direct inspiration? Like, he saw a clip, cuts to himself saying, "I'm gonna step up because I'm the real one."
I've never heard of this. So.
Oh,
Why
that's
not?
interesting that you never heard of
Well,
that.
so it happened. Why do you think it is that your former program appealed to mass shooters so much?
I cover right-wingers, and I know that right-wing terrorism
Deflects.
in this country dwarfs any kind of left-wing terrorism by like a 9-to-1 figure.
What does that do
I
with
might
what I
be
just asked?
underestimating.
Was that in 2020? The right-wing extremists were burning down and rioting in every city. That was right-wingers?
I'm pretty sure there's BLM. And Antifa.
What I find is so interesting is since she doesn't know about this other point being made, they only cover one aspect. So in their head, it's the greatest threat just because they know nothing else.
That is exactly my point. She has no idea what's going on in the real world other than what she thinks about right-wingers or what she wants to think. It's like confirmation bias. And so she's lied to herself, or maybe she's lying to the rest of America because they want their
She's
agenda.
lying to herself and her audience.
You know, but if you don't know the instances of left-wing radicalism or terrorism, or you don't know about the riots in 2020, or if you don't know about Antifa trying to attack the White House and burning down churches, then of course you're going to think or try to lie to your audience that right-wing people are the problem. When it's clearly not the case.
I've actually had people that I've talked to in the street, and maybe I'll play the clip just because. But I actually spoke with a lady in Laguna Beach that was telling me that 2020, the riots of 2020, those were right-wingers. That's what she was telling me. So not even joking. It wasn't like some homeless lady that I was interviewing. It was some just lady that was a just radical leftist. But in this girl's worldview, I feel bad for Emma here because she's up against people that talk about all of it. They have Sean and Tim. They have conversations about any breaking story that's happening. Now, does Sean lean right? Probably. Does Tim lean right or left? I actually don't really know. He's kind of center, but maybe center right, center left on some things.
He's more
He
libertarian.
probably jumps around. But my point is, they talk about all these issues. They cover all these issues. They cover all these shootings. They talk about everything. And they're not afraid to talk about it. Emma hides from talking about stuff that makes her side look bad. That's a part of this kind of tribal instinct of, okay, horse blinders on for all of that, and then dig super deep into everything that makes the other side look bad. Except for not dig super deep into her accusation she made against Tim Pool because she was lazy.
Because she didn't know. Because somebody
I don't
else told her
know.
what to say.
Somebody told her what to do. I don't know why she didn't do her
But
research on that one.
she only covers right-wingers, so I guess that's her excuse for everything.
Right, of course. I mean, that was her answer there.
Sure. So I'll ask again, I guess. Like, why do you think it is this mass shooter was inspired by your former program?
I would have to look into it to make a smarter
Do you feel
comment
bad
on
that he
it.
was inspired directly and admitted he was?
Sure. I mean, it's not.
Do you take responsibility?
It wasn't even my program. I worked there, but yeah.
So you were providing material support. Wow. You
I don't know if she was
you-
there at the time,
no,
to
look,
be fair to you.
I don't think I was.
But I will say, it is interesting because the Young Turks did cover this shooting. And even though, again, reacted specifically to Young Turks videos covering the cops very poorly, propaganda inspired him to commit this violence, in my opinion.
If you want to talk about the
hold
Unturks,
on.
you should talk to them.
I
mean,
would
yeah.
love to at some point in my life. But so he does this, but the Young Turks coverage of it called him just a sovereign citizen. So this
Yeah.
would be categorized as that right-wing terrorism,
This
even
is-
though he
this
was
is the thing, right?
inspired by a left-wing news organization, specifically left-wing
I'll do it.
figures.
I'll do a semi-segue, and I'll talk about what irks me is like.
Sean, just amazing in this. Tim does a fantastic job as well. Just both of them throwing it back in her face. She does not handle that well when they're throwing her same argument, by the way. This isn't about just dunking on people for no reason. They are grabbing the same argument she made, except for a way better argument, to be honest with you. The same argument she made, an unfair argument, they're not trying to have any real conversation, and just throwing it back in her face. That's the only thing that they did right there, and she couldn't handle it. So, anyways, this is just a remarkable exchange here of Sean and Tim using her game plan and just throwing it right back at her. And it's interesting to see how she tries to handle it. Let me know what you guys thought about this clip down in the comment section below. If you guys want to check out the full video, this one is called The Culture War, episode 18. Emma Vigeland and Sean Fitzgerald debating crime and social issues, and totally dunking on Emma on saying neo-Nazis watch Tim Pool's show. So that's actually not in the title. But I'll put a link down in the description below. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me know what you guys thought about me and Lisa's commentary. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe for more videos. And hit that bell notification button. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for joining me, Lisa.
Thanks for having me.